Welcome to this edition of How Crazy Am I? I am taking on this large office furniture. It's a 3-piece set with a peninsula desk. Looks harmless enough, but these pieces are heavy and solid. Each, there's 7 pieces total, so there's 3 lower units, 3 shelves that go on top, and then the big peninsula desk. Thankfully, I had this piece and one shelf, the shelf unit with a shelf ahead of time. So I was able to finish that, get it returned, and then the other 5 pieces arrived. Boy, I have a lot of sanding in my future, and I got right to work. This is the peninsula desk. It's just connected to one of the lower cabinets, and then it has this leg. It's a nice flat surface. It's got drawers. I'm using my Surfprep here to get the rounded edges. This is just the perfect tool for this, as it just hugs those curves. I'll link it. I love using it on the drawers and everything too, but I'm just scuff sanding everything. This was all in fantastic condition. The owner just was tired of the brown and wanted to lighten everything up. So I've done a few other pieces for her, and we're going to be painting this in a color just like the others. So everything is all scuff sanded. It's prepped. Any dents and dings were removed. Time to clean. I'm using some crud cutter degreaser. Just want to make sure one final time that there isn't any furniture polish or wax or anything on this. I'm getting everything all cleaned. I'm also not painting the inside of the cabinets, so I'm going to mask all of that off. And then putting in a screw in the door so that I have a temporary handle. Since this is an office unit, there are grommets everywhere, and they don't come out. I thought these would come out, but they don't come out. At least they don't come out easily, so I just am taping everything off. And then this is a shelf. I don't know what this is. It's like the thickest cardboard, but it's got some black gummy stuff underneath, so I thought, okay, I'll wet it first and then scrape it off. Yeah, I worked on this for quite a while trying to scrape. And wow, this was going to take me 3 days at this rate. So I decided, since it's kind of cardboard, I would just get a really rough grit sandpaper and sand it off. You can see it's just throwing whatever this is, paper of some kind, all over the place. But then I got down to this gummy black stuff, which was like a tar almost. You can see on my carbide scraper. So now I've used water, a putty knife, my Surfprep, and I'm on to the carbide scraper. Pulling out everything to get rid of this. It was just something that must have been sitting on a shelf and got wet or something, and it completely stuck. And back to the Surfprep. So it looks like I've got the majority of it off of there, but still coming off and gunking up my sandpaper. But I am determined to make this work. So I kept changing sandpaper multiple times until I got down to where now I'm finally down to wood. That stuff is gone. So here we are. All 5 pieces are scuffed and cleaned and ready to go. Where am I painting all of this? In the massive tents that I have set up in my driveway. I'm doing 2 of them this time. I usually just paint in 1, but I have so many pieces and they still won't all fit. So here's where we are. We get these tents loaded up. These pieces are large. So I've got 2 lower units and a shelf. And I'm going to paint the shelves in the other one. Just getting busy with some primer. You don't realize when you do shelves how many, there's sides to everything, and it takes a lot of time and paint. And even these shelves, you have to do all the layers and then flip them over, do it all again. Using a sanding sponge, because we're going to sand in between every coat. We want to make sure this is a nice durable finish. And here's an area that must have had some wax or furniture polish because it repelled my paint like nothing else. How do we fix this? Well, we've got to get that off of there because it's bumpy. So I'm just sanding it down smooth. And then I'm going to take some cover stain. This is an oil-based primer. and prime that. Once it dries, I can just paint right over it. So we had gray primer, of course, going on with white paint. This paint is called Pale Oak by Benjamin Moore. It's a beautiful, just lightly antiqued white. But against the gray primer, it's a huge contrast, but it has just a hint of color to it. Such a pretty color. Makes a big difference. And there's that area that we painted earlier. Looks great. I had to run to Ace Hardware. Oh, hardest part of the whole day was resisting that licorice. Okay, back to painting. And you can see the areas on the inside that I have masked off. And because I have everything closed up, I now have to go in and paint the details. So this is a keyboard tray, little door for the keyboard tray. So I'm just getting that painted. This is the edge of the door. So I paint those by hand. I'm going in now with my top coat. And round two, back at it. This is the big Peninsula desk. It looks harmless, but this is huge and very heavy. And it has drawers on each side. So if you try to lay it on its side, the drawers come flying out. And nothing like crawling underneath the table to make it happen. Hey, I'm willing to get into small spaces and do what I need to do this. But once I was able to get under there, I actually got that painted just fine. And there are those that say furniture refinishing is not a workout. I mean, come on. I have been at this for now a couple of days. Painting the top of that dresser, and one of the grommets was wide open. Paint went flying right inside. So that doesn't work, but hey, alcohol is your friend when this happens. It's so fantastic removing overspray, especially if it just happened. So it works good with a scrubby or a paper towel, and you can see that I've got that overspray off. And now if you have a haze from it, you can go in with like Howard's Wax and Feed, or, just wax it or something. So here are the last 5 pieces all finished. Now all 7 pieces are finished, and I let them dry overnight. My clients are moving, so I'm going to get these wrapped up in plastics to make that move a little easier and not get their pretty white furniture all scuffed or dirty. This was a huge project, I won't lie. Yeah, it was a big one. 7 pieces is a lot. Do you think you would have taken on something like this?